What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Roddykat, and you can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at NewsRadio on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, one agent_70 on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings. We're back, a little bit delayed because of the holiday. Merry Christmas, everybody. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Indeed. And yes, we do definitely want to wish everyone happy holidays and a Merry Christmas if you had, or hopefully if you celebrate, you had a good Christmas. If not, you had a good day or days off. Boxing Day also. And it was definitely a good Boxing Day for those two stupid ass folks who got boxed out in those two separate fights. You know who they are. It was a glorious night for that. So yeah. Everything is coming up something. Hopefully we're going to go into the good year with some positive energy and some positive vibes and all that kind of good mess, which now that it just reminds me of a positive vibe that we totally forgot to get in contact with, but that's okay. We'll hit them on the next one, hopefully. But yeah, folks, we are going to get into this particular show with 8 to 70 talking about for reasons, Stranger Things season 5. What is it, part 1, or is it the whole thing, or is it
we just concluded, I guess, the first part of part 2. It's a very weird release schedule because they are spacing it out over the holiday season of 2025. The last bit of this is going to drop New Year's Eve. So it's like we've gotten up to the penultimate episode. So, we've gotten a lot of content so far, lots of revelations, lots of exposition. I think a lot of the criticisms are well earned, but at the same time, they are definitely wrapping up a lot of the loose ends and threads. And it's for the people who have stuck with it, or the people who have kind of been forced, like myself, to rewatch a lot of it, because for the life of me, I could not remember what happened. Like broad strokes I could, but because these things happen so far apart, and these episodes or these seasons happen so far apart from each other for various reasons, because of the writer's strike, because of delays, because of these kids just getting older and having other projects to do, specifically some of them like Millie Bobby Brown. At the end of the day, we're here at the end of all things, and we're finally going to get to see some of the resolution here. It's been a fun watch. I can't say it hasn't been fun. That's how I would characterize it as. It's obviously very tipped, or the storytelling and the story itself is tinged with a heavy amount of nostalgia, and it hits specifically people of my age, my generation, very close, because we are just slightly younger than the protagonists in this story. Given the dates that they're using as the primary dates of things that are happening, like if for them, they were in high school. I was just then in junior high school, going towards high school. You know, I was like in the middle of junior high school, amping up to kind of get to that age to go to high school. And that's, these are really formative years. And so while they're definitely ahead of me, all of the things that they were experiencing were right in my sweet spot of nostalgia. So, it's very close to, my particular Gen X heart. And I'll give them, and that's one of the reasons why the show's nostalgia, the tinging of nostalgia is very strong.
I see. Which is why you and other people would be like, you know what, this is probably a show that would be up your alley because of those things you said, and sure. As Agent 70 has mentioned before the show, and a few times, I'm resistant to it because of it keeps doing thing, which is not always true, but it it's just that this one didn't really hit me like well. I say it didn't really hit me. It didn't impress upon me to want to be curious enough to check it out. Put it that way. Despite that, because normally I would be like all over something like that, which was true. The popularity of it was a side note in this particular situation.
Right. So, like it, to a certain extent, it definitely is. I would say it's part of the zeitgeist. We do not have a lot of stuff that's kind of monoculture. This is close to it, but there's definitely people who are younger who, this still resonates with. There are people who are, just beyond our generation. I know Roddykat's just a touch older than me, so he's probably, like what they're dealing with is probably right in his wheelhouse. Like he was of age when all that stuff was happening, like, the exact age, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just an observation that, like in terms of like, who's watching it, the younger folks are looking at it not from that lens of nostalgia. They're looking at it as a history lesson, which is kind of disturbing.
Right. I got you. I'm sorry. I am laughing because of something I probably shouldn't even I shouldn't even reference, but I'm going to just mention here, and I'm not even gonna. So there's a I don't know who this person is in chat. I think I might know who it is, but I'm not entirely sure.
Which chat? They're not in YouTube.
No, it's on Twitch chat.
Oh, okay.
If it's who I think it is, then this is all funny shit. If it's not, it's still funny shit, but it's funny shit for a different reason. But anyway, hey, I guess this is a time to, and I'm probably not even gonna. Yeah. This would be the time where I'm just going to say, and I'm not even going to clear the chat for this one because it was like, I'll let this one slide. Hey, guess what? We record live on Twitch and YouTube. And sometimes I say it before the show, sometimes I don't. But you know what? The chat will still be in there, the VOD, so you'll see some of the stuff I'm talking about if you watch the video version on Twitch. Not on YouTube because the Twitch chat doesn't hit the YouTube and vice versa. So yeah.
Right.
But that being said, I guess the question I have to ask though, you kind of alluded to it before the show, but are you actually enjoying the watch?
For the most part, it's fun.
I got you.
For the most part. Now I'm very curious to see what's in the chat.
Hey, twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Right, when I can access it.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
I'm not sure when I can access it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Even if you're not signed in, you should be able to see it. So I don't know. But either way.
Yeah, but it's on my phone, so it's always a little different when you're on.
Yeah, well, Twitch on mobile is also real can get silly. But we're gonna continue to move in. on that being the case. Like I said, even if it is not a person that we know, this is still funny stuff. But that being the case, we are going to actually go, since HK70 has
okay.
has said
So
his,
who's got shit to talk about? All right, here we go.
we're going to move on to the books of the week while he's
Didn't the Matrix teach us anything? Okay.
There's part of me that think, like I said, I feel like I know who this is, but at the same time, even they, and you know, they have a tail, and that tail is not showing itself completely. But anywho, and if it is, they're doing a pretty good job hiding it. But anyway, like I said,
Wait a second. You know what I can tell you? You know what I can tell you?
Yes. What can you tell me?
I'm an asshole.
You've I believe you've made that case earlier, but prior to the show. Okay. Okay.
It's crazy.
But hey, for the folks who didn't get privy to that and know that reference, hey, go for it. And we don't have to rehash it here. But like I said, we are going to go on to the books that we have in common, though, just to kind of keep the train moving.
That's funny.
Anyway, oh, this is going to be a good one tonight. I can see. So the first book that we have in common is Gatchaman number 15.
Gatchaman number 15. Gatchaman number 15, published by Mad Cave, is written by Sam Humphries with pencils by Chris Batista. Inks are by Sabrina Cintron. Colors are by Carlos Lopez, and letters are by Buddy Bodoin. I was mildly spoiled by this issue of this. You know, I was mildly spoiled of the reveal in this issue by the artist Chris Batista at New York Comic Con. He showed this to me, and I did not recall exactly when he said this would happen. It was in an upcoming issue. I wasn't sure if he said if it was going to be within like 2 or 3 months. It ended up being 3.
Gotcha.
And you know, he showed me the artwork for a character, a brand new character introduced in this issue that Tatsunoko approved. You know, this is something that he and the work and Sam Humphries all, you know, like I'm sure they all created. And that was an interesting thing to see introduced into the Gatchaman canon, as it were, like the new comic book canon. Right. So when I saw it and I saw what the character was called, and I saw that you know, this is a new mystery character who's at least relatively aligned with the ninja science team, then you know, it was you know, it was an interesting twist on, you know, because we don't really get to see who's working with them, but they're obviously going to be creating this you know, this context that the characters are kind of living in, and you know, that's greater than what was introduced in the animated series that we've gotten in America and obviously in Japan. So, you know, the bottom line here is we're developing things past just monster of the week, not monster, but rather kaiju or even robo kaiju of the week. Right. That's generally the plot of these stories up until now, and now we're starting to see, I think, the evolution of where this Gatchaman book will go. And I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts on that.
Yeah, So I'm glad you answered that question. I don't know if I can do that, person in chat, but but thank you. And also shout out to Vine Gloom, who has entered the YouTube chats. What's up, good sir? Good to see you. We were actually just talking about you a little bit ago. Not bad, but or before the show actually, we're referencing something that you said online. But anywho's. I'm glad you said that about that new character, because I was kind of wondering. I knew it was a new character, and I knew, yeah, as you said, it had to get approved by Tatsunoko, and I was kind of wondering about that, like how involved in this book that they were, and I figured it was relatively close. So it was good to know that they signed off on it, and yes, the obvious questions about our identity of that character, I'm sure they're going to tease that out for a little bit, because that's kind of how this book has been doing, and also you kind of have to wonder, is like, does it have to do with the folks that show up at the end of this book, which I wouldn't suspect. Now that could be very well be another thing that they introduced.
I have a feeling that they're all all newly introduced characters. Part of it is, I think we are at the end of this latest trade paperback arc, right? Because we're at 15, so that is 3 5-issue arcs, right?
Right.
So I think this is definitely where they allow. I think they allow here for a real break from that traditional Gatchaman storytelling. Of Galactor and like a different scheme of the week and a different scheme of the story arc, where we've got mechanical things going crazy and threatening to destroy the world and yada yada yada. So now we've got and obviously they did a good job of establishing kind of these shadow characters, and I thought it was kind of funny that you kind of figure out who this new character is just based off of who these subordinates who don't think that they're subordinates anymore, or understudies that don't think that they're understudies anymore, and they're now looking to be leading characters. So with that said, they're being set up as, I don't know, foils, but because they're noticeably outnumbered every time they take on the ninja science team or the science ninja team or whatever they are. I'm always tempted to call them G-Force, but at the end of the day, that's for me at least, it was very noticeable there.
I guess. I mean, I'm sure there were clues there. And yeah, and now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, I'm kind of wondering if the new character is going to be, let's just say, a character that is referenced in this book, that's
right.
Somehow was resurrected. Maybe possibly having to do with the people that come in and at the end of the book. We don't know right now, but like I said, well, whatever it is and however it is, I am sure that, like I said, that tale will be coming at some point. So I'm sure we'll see it. And no, Von Klum, not the Zaslav disc. Now this was about something about Age of Revelation and a dude that's doing videos on them. That's what we were talking about. But therein lies that. So that being said, though, yeah, I will say, if you're watching the video version, while there is action, the kick that happens does not happen to a Galactor foot soldier as is happening on the cover. Although, in true. Actually, I don't remember too much in the anime that it happened, but I noticed in this book, Bird Cats, aka Galactic or some, because of how they presented it here in the U.S. You know, does a lot of Darth Vadering. You know, or some would say Kylo Ren, you know, but with the level of, you know, whatever. But either way, you kind of get what I'm saying, because it's like, yeah, he just disposable folks are around him. This one had a chance to make it out, but did not, sadly, because, you know, yeah, it is what it is. It's Galactor. There are diamonds. I'm surprised they hadn't actually started cloning them. But I think what I was gonna say was, I don't remember my original plot, honestly, but, you know, questions have arisen in this because of, you know, new characters and whatnot. So there was a thing.
There's a lot of setup, right?
Yes.
The bottom line is we're dealing with a lot of setup for something that's going to be relatively unfamiliar to us as fans of Gatchaman, G-Force, Battle of the Planets, et cetera,
Right.
and you know, it hasn't. This is stuff that heretofore has not yet been explored in, you know, what we know as, you know, canon, right? It's not even whatchamacallit. It's not even Seven's Arc 7.
Oh God, thank you for that.
I don't know. I could deal with some Seven's Arc 7 right now.
No, we don't need them. We're good. But that being said, there was a reference to a current slang phrase, or thrown about slang phrase, "We are cooked," which I know, you know, has its origins in other things, but the fact that it's just being said left and right nowadays by the youngsters, and seeing it in this issue was kind of funny. In the way that it's being used nowadays, you know, which, you know, would be, and actually I think if I remember seeing, I was reading something that was like a real early version. I mean, it was a real early saying of that term, you know, sometime back in the same meaning. So it's not like it's a new thing. It's just kind of funny to see it, how it's come up here and come up in other places well before now. Anyway, doesn't matter. Just neither here nor there. That's Gatchaman number 15. Still a pretty good book. Questions, more questions, new people, and we'll see where this goes going forward.
Right. We'll see where the next arc goes, because, you know, as we said, this is really the first time that we're seeing so much new stuff. You know, I mean, it's not, you know, like these new antagonists. They're not brand new. They've obviously been, you know, what I was saying earlier is that they've been slowly introduced and they were slowly developed to get to this point now. But yeah, they're really developing, you know, a lot more of the Gatchaman universe.
Right. And also new to the Gatchaman universe, because as I don't recall there were anything of the like in the actual anime, which I have been revisiting in the past week or two, which realistically I only got past like the first one or two because I was like, okay, yeah, I'm good. But, you know, still good stuff. If you were able to track down the DVD or the Blu-rays or whatever the case may be, you should check it out. Some good stuff. I definitely will probably at one point go through most, if not all, of the episodes of that show, just out of curiosity, because I know I have not seen the whole run in any way, shape, or form, you know. But next up, folks, we are going to get to another licensed thing and another team of superheroes who are also here on a Earth, and that is ThunderCats number 22.
ThunderCats number 22, published by Dynamite, is written by Declan Shalvey, with art by Drew Moss, colors by Arancia Studio, and letters are by Jeff Eckleberry. So, Roddykat and I were talking about this just in our pre-production meeting, and I made the joke that Jaga has been revealed to be, at least in form, if not fact, the ThunderCats version of Nick Fury. And more so, actually, it's actually not that far off to say that it's every version of Nick Fury outside of the Howling Commandos version of Nick Fury, because even in like the mainstream 616 Nick Fury all the way to the MCU Nick Fury and everything that's happened with the melding of the two, uh, we've gotten the general gist of Nick Fury being the spy master, right? The head spy of the Marvel Universe. That's kind of how they're portraying Joggy here, and they're asking him to explain himself, and we get a lot of exposition, a lot of explanation, a lot of backfilling of the story of how these characters have come to Third Earth. And there's still plenty more that we have not seen Jaga explain, because we've seen Jaga's story told, his third world story specifically, told in flashback in previous issues, and his connection with one of the main characters of the Third Earth story. And I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts on this.
Right. It's kind of one of the things that if you're reading this book and Lost, ThunderCats Lost, you start to get pieces and things, and those pieces of things brought about many questions. And even with the answers that we got, which still begat more questions, you get some of the things, put it this way. And yeah, like Agent 70 said, yeah, Jaga is definitely the Nick Fury, or if you go in the sci-fi sci-fi side of it, your Tal Shiars, your Section 31s, your insert secret, hey, we got to do the things that the public facing folks do. Your special mission forces, in certain cases, all of that we find out. And we do get answers to some, and like I said, we get more questions. We also get and speaking of the questions that I have, definitely that I'm assuming going to get the answer to, because if this series and the other series have not done anything, they have definitely said, hey, we're gonna bring up this character here, and that pretty sure that character is going to show back up at some point, or a reference to that character or something, because anything like that kind of keeps things going in this universe and these books. So this is good. That being said, we find out about the secret ops, the shadow ops group, the Gray Cats, of which some folks that we have been introduced to, and some that we know from a couple at least that we know from the animated series, have in this universe been have and or probably are still a member of this universe. And we find, Jaga's place with that, and a little bit of backstory on one of the other characters that has been in the book for a while. A little bit more backstory that we did not have on her, outside of what we found out to be her mission here and her relation to Jaga, which also get filled in a little bit more with this issue. So, but yeah, I suspect, like I said, probably when the next Lost book hits, the next Lost book, I believe, is going to be the last issue of this. So I suspect there's going to be something in there that might link to this. Don't know. That being said, like I said, there is,
okay.
because they did reference that in the last issue of that book. That was like, it seems like they're ending that book. I haven't seen anything official about it, but it's like I said, from accounts that it looks like it's. From what I have seen, it looks like that's what the case is. So that could mean that some of those characters might be entering into this book at some point also. And, other things.
So it looks like it's going to go to 10 issues.
Right.
ThunderCats Lost?
Mm-hmm, that's correct.
Right, so that seems to match the current trend of 5 issues per trade. So they'll make it to 2 trade paperbacks, and I guess that'll end this ThunderCats Lost story.
Mm-hmm. And
So
like I
it
said,
seems, it seems, as you said, a good time for them to, start whatever new direction they're going in, if it's going to be integrating them into the greater ThunderCats book.
Right. And if the preview for the next issue of this book is indication, maybe that's going to start that's going to start coming into play then, or it could be wrong, but like I said, we'll see. Like I said, however that book ends up, which I'm pretty sure is probably coming in the next week or two, and the next issue of this book will probably, give us the roadmap to that part. But the one thing I was going to say, and we can move on to the next book, is, like I said, there is a character. If you are familiar with the Star Comics version of ThunderCats, there is a character that shows up here that is referenced and shown, who may or may not come back again, that is originally from that section. So once again, they're continuing to pull from, other sources of ThunderCats, lore books, whatever you want to call it, because I looked up this character, I was like, this character doesn't seem like it was a character from the cartoon, and sure enough, it was not. But the name seemed familiar enough, so it was like, okay, clearly this character did show up somewhere that I read, and I do remember reading those Star Comics ThunderCats book, not that thoroughly, but I did read it, at least the first arc or so, and sure enough, this person shows up in that arc. So hey, good on it. And I don't think that thing didn't run all that long, but still, I remember reading them. So yeah, ThunderCats continues to be good. Potential click of the week. Answers, and more questions. Lion-O tries to assert his dominance, and Jaga's like, hey. Well, Jaga and Calico's like, hey. We know who you are, but you know who I am. Chill out. I'm going to answer you. I'm going to chill. I'm going to give you your answers, but you calm that down just for a second. But that's the case. Last book that we have in common, which is, some would argue this is probably a big book of the week. It is definitely a book of the week that is of a curiosity, and that is The Will of Doom #1 one-shot.
The Will of Doom #1 one-shot is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Cafu. Colors are by David Curiel, and letters are by VC's Travis Lanham. This had to be an interesting read this week because we've already known, and I think it was spoiled online, who the primary beneficiary of the last will and testament of Victor Von Doom would be.
And not a surprise either way, even if he hadn't been, honestly.
Right. And, a lot of this deals with some of the Marvel, the Marvel-centric issues, right? Mm-hmm. Of the recent, Fall of Doom storyline and everything that happened to One World Under Doom, everything that happened in One World Under Doom. So a lot of it is very much logical, but it still bared, it would still bear a story, like a one-shot like this. And I think this was like the perfect way to tell it, where it didn't have to be like a 3-issue story arc in FF or anything like that. A simple one-shot takes care of all of the story that would be contained in this. And I think it's a good idea to do that. And I think we all know that this is going to be the start of, or at least the impetus for, a new round of stories, even if we didn't already know that based off of solicitations. So I'll hand it off to Roddykat on that.
Right. Well, I agree with everything you said, but also it's not even a but. And also the fact that this is one, probably. Well, it's not even probably. Given who's writing this, one, and some of the things that you're seeing in this is setting up Chip Zdarsky's Armageddon. Clearly. 2, there's also, as Agent 70 said, yes, this one shot kind of encapsulated a lot of things and a lot of things coming out of One World Under Doom, but unfortunately is setting up another possibly one shot I don't know if it's going to be a one shot because we don't know, but it definitely was referenced in here that there's going to be another side book coming out of this that is not Armageddon, but also still kind of dealing with this whole Doom situation. Whether will that have something to do with what Valeria ended up doing, handling at the end of this? Who knows? Probably, but they basically said that yes, One World Under Doom. This book is doing its thing. The greater Marvel universe is going to it's going to reverberate out in wherever it does, including Sorcerer Supreme book that we know is coming, and Armageddon on that side, and for however long that and anything else happens to be happening, and probably the way they bring back Doom at some point, because I still feel like they're probably going to do it sooner rather than later, and just not let him sit out there for too long.
It's not going to be a year, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
It's not going to be a year.
Yeah,
because they're going to bring him back. They're going to put him back on the board right around the time of the movie.
Correct. So, at the very least 6 months, there'll be around about that. If Von Gloom is still in the chat, I hate to disappoint you, but Johnny still has the porn stash in this one shot. If you did not read it, so sorry about that, but there you go. This one shot also dealt with some stuff that I don't think Agent 70 read, and I definitely didn't read, having to do with Red Hulk.
Yeah, like that was one of the tie-ins into
right
One World Under Doom that I don't think I got to.
Yeah, it also did not. I knew it was out there, and we both knew it was out there, but neither one of us read it. So this was like, hey, this thing happened. This thing happened. By the way, hey, this thing happened. I'm like, okay, whatever. Don't care. But it happened.
I mean, like that's the thing. We needed to know about it because it happened, and it's going to have ramifications moving forward.
Right.
That's fine. That's all I needed to know. That that Thunderbolt Ross has got to be Thunderbolt Rossing.
Right.
And
but also real world parallels.
Of course.
So as things have been happening in certain books like this one. So sure.
Of course. I mean, listen, there's a certain the books that we're dealing with, especially with the big two,
mm-hmm.
they all tend to they are all carrying various analogies to real world issues,
mm-hmm.
right? Some of them are a lot more on point, on very much directly creating real world parallels,
mm-hmm.
In their stories. So it's not a big surprise,
right?
I think one of them is doing it in much more of a direct fashion. I think Marvel is doing it in a much more direct fashion than DC is.
Oh yeah, definitely true. That being said, so a couple of things I'll just reference here from my notes. The line, "People are scared to be Americans again," is a line that comes out. So that kind of goes into what we were just talking about, and a couple of other times that's something like that, or no, after that is referenced. A character I don't think I've seen in a good minute shows up here, and I'm not even talking about Foggy, but the person who is with Foggy, because Foggy Nelson shows up. Given that
Cole North?
Yeah, I'm like,
no, he's been around in Daredevil,
and I don't read Daredevil, so that's why, like I said, that's why I haven't seen him around. So, but we've also seen him in the in the recent MCU because of Daredevil fairly recently. So there is a whole nother thing. So that was just weird for me to see. A name shows up. I don't know if you noticed this or not. Did you notice the "get off my plane" moment that happened? Or it could be potentially a "get off my plane" notice.
It does ring a bell.
It was somewhere.
I read this book yesterday, so
Right. There was a point in time where Reed and Ben were at the White House while other people in the world, while other people were handling things in the world, and basically, hey, some Doom stuff was going on, even though Doom's not around. That's the basic thing that's that's the basic other thing that was going on in this book outside of the will stuff and who's aligned with it.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
But there was a point in there that just kind of felt like a get off my plane, where a character kind of says a similar-ish line.
Right. So
that was kind of funny. Also, Doomshark Transformer figure. We need to get that. We just need to go ahead and get that. There was a crack about a person being a more competent member of the Fantastic Four, which another member kind of responded to, which was kind of funny, But here's the thing that two things that I had questions about. Cynthia Von Doom. Who the heck is that? Is that an actual
his mother?
Oh, I kind of wondered, but I don't remember ever hearing her name. And so I kind of figured that's who it was, but I wasn't sure.
I want to give credit. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give credit to. I probably read that in a Marvel Marvel Saga.
Okay.
From like the 80s.
I thought his mom's name was like Magda or something, but maybe I'm thinking of Magneto's wife.
That's yes.
Yeah. So, okay. And so, which, like I said, it makes sense. I kind of figured, but I wasn't quite sure. But there was another reference here that Val was talking to Franklin and called him little brother.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, no.
That was a little weird.
Right. I'm sitting here.
What's going on?
So, which caused me to look up Valeria, because I'm saying, because of one, I thought it was like maybe Cynthia is her middle name. Come to find out, it is not, and apparently her middle name is Megan. Go figure. But also, no, things still check out on that front. Like, no, Valeria is very much still a little girl, but apparently she's done some time travel. Which I think that might have had to do with a book that we read recently, because I don't know if that or I read. I don't remember if we read it, because that's not a thing that was from the past or her birth or anything. This is not a magic situation, basically. So
right.
So those two things kind of messed with me for a hot second. The latter being the one that messed with me more so, because I was like, I know good and dang well Franklin's still the older child in this equation.
Right.
So like, what was that even about?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. That I definitely did bump on that as well.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is like, okay, maybe it's because she's the smarter of the two, so therefore she's taking herself to be the, to act like the more grown up or situation. But even in that's probably not going to get me a no prize. But Val Tim Stealth.
Funny.
Yeah. What's it?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it's funny because the I guess the two Richards kids have traded the spotlight in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, during the Krakoan years, and obviously, when Franklin was at the peak of his at the peak of the focus on his powers, right? During Onslaught, right?
Right.
We're talking about the next stage of their evolution as characters. The big focus on the Richards kids was during the Krakoan era,
mm-hmm.
right? Where we got a lot of insight into their dynamic, especially given Franklin's status as a mutant.
Right.
So, a lot of that stuff has changed back and forth, especially as the stories have kind of evolved through and past the Krakoan era, and now we have Val kind of stepping back to the fore as kind of an equal to Reed, and kind of more his not even his assistant, but more like a fellow scientist, as it were,
right.
for like when he's doing his work for the FF. So the focus is on Val, and now she's, spoiler alert, if she's the primary beneficiary of the last will and testament of Victor Von Doom, you can kind of imagine what that makes her, right?
Right.
And that is clearly established in this issue.
Mm-hmm. Right. And throughout the courses, if we see her and a few different people are, basically trying to come to grip with things that have happened during one world of the specifically having to do with her directly, including with a couple of characters, her included,
Right.
So therein lies the thing. And also, you mentioned the concurrent area. I was thinking the continuing saga of Franklin's identity crisis, which is not so much of a crisis, but is he mutant? Is he not a mutant? Is he all powerful? Is he not all powerful? That has been a whole thing with him for quite a while with that character. And I assume what happened in the concurrent area is not necessarily put the full stamp on it, but gets us to a place that's probably not going to be revisited for another 5 years or so. Or 10, I don't know, whatever they feel need. But that being said, that's pretty much it. Oh, for Agent 70, and this is the last thing I'll mention outside of So I'll say what I was about to say, and then I'll talk about what happened to because that's an interesting point. I know Agent 70 has been playing a couple of video games, and one of which, if I say the words "manage democracy," should mean something to him. If it doesn't, that's fine, because he probably hasn't been paying attention to that part of the game. But there was another part of this book that kind of made me think of that game, Helldivers 2.
Oh my God.
because Sue basically says something like, go protect democracy. And in Helldivers 2, there's a lot of, Starship Troopers like, rah, protect democracy, or excuse me, manage democracy is a thing in Helldivers 2.
I haven't played it in a while. I need to go back to it.
I got you. And there's always there's a whole rah about democracy this and democracy that in that game, which makes that game kind of fun, but also kind of real dumb at the same time. So that's what kind of made me think about that when that line came up. So I didn't know if Agent 70 was going to catch that or not. So because I know he had to been playing that or not. But it made me giggle. That's being said. That's funny. It made me really giggle for that one. So, but yeah, like I said, another one shot, or maybe another half a series is coming. We see some Avengers show up in here because what's going on in this book is going on all across the world, and whatnots. And yeah, the end of the book kind of brings up something that's I'm pretty sure we're going to show up someplace else. Now for something, let me see. Von Gloom says in the chat, Kristoff says, Von Gloom says, Kristoff still gets no love from Victor, even from beyond the grave. This is true. Kristoff had his time. He's not going to get any more. He's basically in the same place as Victorious at this point. Well, not. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. Victorious is in probably a lesser place because he was like, girl, you got to go. Kristoff is still there. Like, he's still kind of under the wing. He just kind of sitting in this little, sitting in this cubby, like, yeah, I'm still here, but sure. That would be the story, though. I'm surprised that hadn't showed up in this book. I'm surprised Kristoff didn't show up. It was like, why are you not me type of situation. But I feel like even Kristoff would be like, nah, we know Doom loved your ass more than he any kind of cares about me. So, Von Gloom also says Kristoff is like Pietro and Val is like Wanda. I don't know about that, but I get what I think I get what you're coming at with that. So, because Val is kind of the loved one of the two, and
right,
yeah. So I do get that. I see it. I see the vision. So, but Kristoff is not as much of an asshole as Pietro, so I wouldn't put that on him. He's had his moments, but I still wouldn't put that on him at this point. He's probably come to grips with his place in the world at this point. We don't know. Maybe they'll address that at some point. We don't know. That being said, though, that's it for the books that we have in common. Like I said, it's end of the year light stuff, but we still have more books to talk about when we get to Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire review time, folks. Here we go.
I ain't got time to bleed.
All right, we've only got a few books out this week that we were able to read. The first is, that we didn't have in common. The first is Absolute Wonder Woman number 15, published by DC Comics, as written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Hayden Sherman. Colors are by Jordi Belair, and letters are by Becca Carey. This is the first Absolute Universe crossover between Absolute heroes. We have the Absolute Wonder Woman hosting the crossover with Absolute Batman. This cover was spoiled by solicitations. This cover was also spoiled for me at New York Comic Con because the artist sold prints of this cover back in October. Right? So I had already seen, obviously the solicitations for this had already come out, so we were able to see this online and in in advance, so we could place orders and whatnot. So it was kind of fun to see. So we knew this was happening, and this is also going to be happening over in Absolute Batman, and the crossover. Is kind of fun to see. It just really puts two characters who, let's just say, didn't traditionally have that romantic or sexual tension until all of a sudden they did.
And that was probably the cartoon.
Right. And then all of a sudden we were like, oh, snap. There's a lot of it going on in comics and in obviously in the cartoon, so they're in pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see them play it up in the absolute versions of these characters. Next up is
before you go on, let me address this real quick. Von Gloom says this Diana is his favorite.
Oh, absolutely.
Haha, no problem.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, Linda Carter is always going to be my favorite.
Hey, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. You get no arguments here.
Period. Full stop.
Anyway.
Next up is Amazing Spider-Man number 18. It's written by Joe Kelly with pencils by John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, colors by Marcio Meniz, and letters are by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. We've got the other half of this Spider-Man story that Joe Kelly is telling, right? If you're not keeping up with it, the stories seem to alternate every other issue, where Peter and his travails in a far corner of space are in one issue, and we have Norman, right? Not the cow Norman from City Slickers, but Norman Osborn, doing his best in the current 616 on Earth. And things are not going very well for Norman. That's what this issue continues to follow. I'll be very happy to see this particular storyline end. Not a big fan of seeing Norman trying to redeem himself yet in another way that's probably going to fail. But hey, we got to keep trying, right? Next up and last up for me is Marvel Winter Break Special 2025 number 1. The story, as it were, is written by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleeks, with art by Nick Bradshaw. Colors are by Rochelle Rosenberg, and letters are again by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. The pinups in this issue, this Winter Break Special, is very much a swimsuit issue. The pinups are by various artists. The notable ones for me were by Wiles Portacio, Kari Andrews, and Elena Casagrande. So, this is basically a direct follow-up to the Marvel swimsuit issue that they put out over the summer. And that's it for me.
And apparently there's a reference to that Rogue miniseries that went back to the Savage Land. I'm kind of flipping through it right now.
There is.
So that's kind of funny. And then it gets to the, okay, Tigra.
I was about to say, keep flipping when you see the Dazzler one. You're just like, oh, okay, Kari Andrews.
Okay, the storm and T'Challa one looks familiar, but also looks like they tried to channel a little bit of Chadwick there on that one.
Right.
Let's see, She-Hulk. I expect that one. Sure. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but sure. But anyway, yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm kind of curious to see your reaction to when I say keep flipping.
Yeah, I get to that in a little bit. Don't keep this ball rolling. Don't want to derail it too much. Also,
right, because you at least got to see the Waltz Portatio one. The it's very 90s. It's like a remix of a swimsuit pinup that he did from that he himself did in the 90s.
Right. You're right, Von Gloom. Greg Land will never be without work. This is true.
God.
That's great. I'm gonna make that soundbite at one of these points, but it doesn't come up as often as it used to. The hot body with soulless eyes. That's funny. All right, so for myself, we are going to go over into the Energon universe. Actually, and I have to come back to the ThunderCats cover at the end of this, but Void Rivals number 25 is my book, written by Robert Kirkman, art by Andre Bresson, colors by Patricio Del Pesce, and letters by Russ Bouton. So this is part 1 of 6 of the Quintesson War. If you're watching the video version, you can see the banner right up there on top. So it goes right there. So yeah, the Agarians and the Zetonians are still kind of rebuilding after that whole Goliant thing, kerfuffle, which is still in the air, which I'm still thinking that's probably a Unicron or a Unicron-like situation. But you know what? Hey, this is called the Quintesson War. So they show up on both planets, starting to cause havoc here, while we see characters on both of those characters kind of dealing with some things. So the Prime Minister of Zetonia kind of got into a kerfuffle with this other character, Proxima, because they are basically over who got used more. And then, right as they were continuing to fight, the Quintessons come bopping in, wrecking shop as they tend to do with their ships. And then we cut over to the Gorian and our main character, Derek, who's, giving life lessons to his Handroid. And then, the Quintessons come popping up there. And while his dad and apparently his uncle, who's a general, kind of, dap each other up or whatever the case may be. So yeah, this whole Quintesson War thing. I don't know if this book, that this whole Quintesson War is just going to be in Void Rivals. I have not seen it slated for like Transformers or anything. I feel like if it were, we would have seen some setup in Transformers to that point, or in G.I. Joe for that matter. There are elements of G.I. Joe in Void Rivals because we see, like I said, who's not in this issue, but Pythona from Cobra La is out there in space, and she's running to some folks out here in Void Rivals, so including a couple of Cybertronians. So she's out there, but like I said, whether this book is actually going to touch is the thing. This is the thing I've been kind of curious about. Is this book going to ever touch like G.I. or characters from this book going to ever touch G.I. Joe or Transformers? Because it's been one way so far. Like I said, we see characters in those two franchises in this book, but nothing in those other books, from this. But I guess we'll find out at some point, because that's like I said, if this is supposed to be in the Energon universe and intricate, and integral in a way, shape, which it has set itself up to be for one aspect, gonna be interesting to see when they finally cross it over, or we'll see what happens when stuff hits the fan, because when G.I. Joe finds out there's aliens out there, this is other aliens outside of these Cybertronians, which they're about to find out about. That's going to be something. Next up, though, is excuse me, Batman Static Beyond, number 2 of 6. Story by Evan Narcisse and Nicholas Draper Ivy. Art and color by Nicholas Draper Ivy. Excuse me. And letters by Wes Abbott. So, this is continuing collaboration between those two characters. There's a lot of Dakota-verse, cameos in here. There's also a couple of DC characters, and like you see Stargirl pop in for a panel. You get references to Metropolis and Gotham in a couple of spots in this book. And of course, like this is in the Beyond universe, so this is kind of futurist. So you got an adult Virgil Static and Terry McGinnis as Batman Beyond working together. And of course, the future version of Justice League was in the first issue, but it wasn't around here. Basically, this has to do with. So there was a point in this book where Q Juice is mentioned, so the Big Bang is a thing for those who know about the Dakotaverse and the Milestone characters. There's a thing called the Big Bang, and that's where Static got his powers. And apparently, according to this or something around this, that sets up a similar thing. Whatever the Big Bang is, and whatever source of energy that is a source of energy that it gets harnessed in the future thanks to Static and some other folks, and is basically being unveiled to be powering Dakota, Paris Island, which is a Dakota city, the city that Dakota. So, and I say all that to bring up a fact that there's a line mentioned here about, that Static is basically addressing the world and says that, lucky for you, we're sharing, hey, we're doing all this stuff because people need, clean energy and we're trying to set it up. But lucky for y'all, we're sharing it with the world, which feels like a dig at Wakanda to me. Because, Wakanda famously don't share its tech or anything. So it was kind of funny, but there's also some, what felt like another DC at large, dig in that. It's like, yeah, they say the Dakota, people, this and that and the other, or we're broken and we're apart from everybody, this and that and the other. So it was like, which is, could be talking about the divide between DC and the Dakotaverse, because they don't really integrate each other. So that's the thing. That being said, though, this has been a pretty good read so far, and I'm looking to see where this is going. We've only gotten one real team up between the two characters, and at the end of this book, that kind of sets up them having to work together now because of what happens at the end of the book, which has to do with, another kid gets exposed to the same the stuff that gave Static his powers, and things happen, so they have to deal with that, and it's affecting the DC universe at large, according to what's going on in this book. But yeah, if you're interested in that, check it out. Next up, and I realize that this is not necessarily rapid, so I only have one more book, so it's fine. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Battle Nexus #1, of which I just found out there was indeed a video game named Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Battle Nexus. That seems similar to what's going on in this book. And it's a big, hey, guess what? You've heard of Secret War, where all the heroes and whatnot. Well, this is not that. You've heard of the situation where, hey, here's all these characters in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles multiverse that are going to probably end up fighting. That are definitely going to end up fighting. That's pretty much what this is. In a time displaced arena where all of these folks can do battle. Well, this,
you mean it's TMNT KO? Good God.
Oh, kind of, yes. I mean, let's face it, DCKO is not there's been things that has done
this concept either, right? Exactly.
Right, they're not. Yeah, this is not a new concept to them, and this is. I'm trying to think of something more specific that folks would know.
TMNT concept of champions, I get it.
Kind of, basically, we'll leave it at that one. So
yeah,
because I didn't want to do that one because that's usually the one I falter to. But it is kind of the case here. So yeah, the turtles were messing around with Bebop and Rocksteady, and then get swept away to this Battle Network Nexus thing, which had been taken over by this person, and of course references to other time-dealing people in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One of which apparently was it looks very different than the last time I saw him, but to be fair, the last time I saw him was in that other Saturday Morning Adventures book, looking slightly different. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And so at the end of this, the first fight looks to be set up between one of the turtles and a very OG version of their, you say, main bad guy. And out, so you know, I don't have to tell you who that is. In fact, I don't even have to tell you if you're looking at the video version. You can see them on the cover, because all of the characters that are on the cover that are fighting against the turtles show up in this issue. So there you go. There's even a actually at the end of the book, there's even a reference to last Ronin turtle with another TMNT character. Which I guess that's going to be the backstory with this thing. I'm not sure how many issues this is going to be, but I will be checking it out. So there's also a character here called Lord Simultaneous. I don't know if that's a new character or that's an established Turtles character. Kind of feels like both, but you know, don't know. So Von Gloom asks, how is OG Black and White Shredder normal? He became some sort of mutant worm creature. They pluck folks from a specific time, because another character was also referenced that shows up in here, and it's like, wait, isn't he dead? But they plucked him out of a certain time period, basically. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a whole lot of explanation of why this person and that person shows up, or why this version of that person shows up in this. But that being said, that's it for me. And this is it's interesting. I'll check it out and see how this goes. Oh, I forgot to say the creative team though. The story is by Tom Waltz, Paul Allore, Sophie Campbell, Caleb Goldner, and Eric Burnham. The script's by Tom Waltz. Art is by Esau and Isaac Escorza. Colors by Luis Antonio Delgado, and letters by Tom Napolitano. And there is that. Kliqs of the week.
All right, here we go. Kliqs of the week, as I remind Roddykat to flip through that winter break special once again until it gets to the Dazzler shot.
He's not new. He's Premier TMNT Kang. Okay, gotcha.
Kliqs of the week.
So, you know, as we said earlier, it is a light week, but also fairly busy. There's a couple of ones that I didn't get a chance to get.
With what we normally read. That's the thing, right? It's a light week in the sense that there are not as many books out, but in terms of the books that we generally gravitate to, right? In terms of like things that start off at the top of our pull list or the top of our read list,
mm-hmm.
You know, it's very much heavy and dense with that. I think that Will of Doom #1 was a good issue. I think that Gatchaman book was a nice, pleasant surprise because we're really setting up a lot of different books here,
mm-hmm.
right? We're setting up a lot of different stories. That is,
right.
That can take us into a very different direction than what we're used to. Right. But I think for me, absolutely Wonder Woman #15 is my Kliq of the week this week.
Okay.
So that's my choice. But I wanted to give the candidates for my choices because they were pretty strong, mm-hmm. in the sense that something a little different for each one.
Sure.
Specifically the Gatchaman book. That was
yes.
That was definitely a different way of looking at Gatchaman, and it was interesting to see a different approach to it now. As they're moving into like their third story arc.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So 1776 #2 came out this week. I didn't get a chance to read that. Morgan Le Fay is back apparently. DuckTales #10 came out. I think I'm an issue behind that. What was the other one? I still want to. I need to get on those Absolute books because I keep hearing fairly decent things about Absolute Manhunter, Martian Manhunter as well.
That's out this week, and I am
Mhm.
too far behind. I'm only like one issue in, and I
Right.
need to reread it.
Right.
So we just got issue number 7 out this week.
hmm
So that's going to be something I try to do over the holiday, the upcoming holiday. So maybe just sit down and read Absolute Martian
Oh,
Manhunter.
yeah. And of course we got a slate of DCKO books came out this week. So there was the Superman book that came out, which is Luthor versus Etrigan. There was this is the one book I was gonna get behind. I mean that I'm kind of a couple of issues behind is Justice League Unlimited, and that's partially because of DCKO, weirdly enough, and is also still tied into that. Let's see, there's a Green Lantern book with Batman in it apparently, which that was a fight I would have liked to have seen with him and Hal Jordan, or as I said to Agent 70, him and Guy Gardner would have been a great.
Right.
I think that Green Arrow book came out this weekend. I think that might be the last issue of that. I don't remember. But either way, there's the Red Hood Joker book I think came out this weekend. Something. Spider-Man 94 number 4 came out this week. I forgot to read that, or I didn't get a chance to read that, or whatever the case may be. Star Wars number 8 came out this week also. Yeah, but anyway, stuff came out basically. There was one other, but it doesn't matter at this point because the Flash book. That's what it was. It's Jake Garrick versus Guy Gardner, which as I told Agent 7, I wish it was Batman and Guy Gardner. So anyway, for myself, I do agree with Agent 70 about Will of Doom being good, Gatchaman also being good. Thundercats, I would add that one. Actually, because we finally got answers to some stuff, even though they begat more questions, but we finally started getting some answers that was like, okay, this is kind of going where you assumed it did, and whatnot. So, and actually, I'm just going to stop right here and say this is probably going to be my click of the week. I also will say that hey, if there are any cosplayers out there want to cosplay that cover, because I feel like that's going to happen, go for it. I feel like it's going to happen either way. You don't need my whatever, but therein lies that. But yeah, Thundercats number 22, is going to be my click of the week. And with that, as I try to plunk the stuff in here, wait, what did you say yours was? Absolute Wonder Woman.
Absolute Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. And with that, we are going to go to the news section. But first, an ad read.
And as I read this ad read, I'm going to ask one more time that Roddykat take a look at.
Oh,
that,
yeah, I got it. It's
special.
open. It's open.
There you go. There you go. Our first ad read of the night is for Wink, the personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torronté, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your taste and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink Wines through CSPN. Do it today. And now we get into the news. I'm going to trust that Roddykat finally paged through that book to get to that particular pinup shot.
You must saw my reaction. Yes. Why, yes, I did.
I'm like, okay, Kari Andrews, I see you.
I'm like, all right, get it. Go ahead. Yeah. I am not mad at that one.
I'm looking at it like, okay, so there's a certain era, right? And I think we've made this joke, or I've made this joke specifically before about Corey Andrews' style, right? He's able to do a very good 90s X-Men, right? Like he can, like his style is very adaptable to 90s X-Men stuff. And when he's doing 90s X-Men stuff, it's just really on point. And you can tell that he's very heavily influenced by certain looks of characters. And when he's putting this particular character on the page, what I'm referring to is a particular version of Alison Blair, a particular version of Dazzler, and a particular hairstyle that she's wearing. I looked at that, I was like, oh, snap. Hello.
Yes, Olivia Newton Dazzler, as I call her.
Right.
Around that time. But yes, agree. And it's very much a pinup style also. So it's it works out pretty great. So do a few other ones in that book also, but yeah, that one I was like, all right, you know what?
It's like, I see you, Corey Andrews.
Right. All right. Now you been hanging out with Jay Scott. Don't think we don't see that. We see you've been you and Jay Scott been hollering at each other, and you know what? Cool. But that being the case, folks, we are into the cinematic news, of which we don't have a whole lot of, but it's fine. And the first off is, I think, something we probably mentioned last week, but Jessica Jones returns in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Charlie Cox previews the war for New York in this Entertainment Weekly article. So, yeah. We see Charlie Cox and Deborah Ann Wall with definitely a different hairstyle than what she had been rocking. Wait, that can't be her, is it? I guess it is. Interesting. Weird. And then you see Vincent D'Onofrio. And
they're like in disguise. She's actually hard to recognize there.
Right. I was like, wait a minute. I had to kind of look kind of close. Like, was she channeling MJ or something? What's going on? But yeah, so there's a couple of pictures here, of folks as we get into this. And yeah, at the top of it, like I said, Krysten Ritter is joining the cast, or rejoining, I guess, the pack. So that's great. Getting the band back together. So yeah, next up, Spider-Man Brand New Day has officially wrapped production. On Friday, director Destin Daniel Cretton revealed that the much anticipated fourth installment in the MCU Spider-Man franchise, God, we've already gotten 3 and we're about, and the fourth one just finished filming. God. Has completed filming on the upcoming prelude to Avengers Doomsday, set to premiere July 31st in theaters. Wow. Yep. It's all coming together. Filming began in Scotland in August, although production briefly halted the next month after Holland was treated for a mild concussion, reportedly during a stunt gone wrong amid production on the Pinewood, UK set of the Sony and Marvel Studios movie. Okay. Yep, I think we talked about that when that yes, we did. Shortly after that happened. So yeah. Fun Gloom says we must have John Travolta long shot now. No. I've seen him in those whatever those T-Mobile commercials doing Grease as Santa Claus. I'm like, no, he can no, thank you. X-Men 97's original Gambit plans confirmed after season 1's. I like how Death in this article is quoted, and it sounded incredible. Of course, I mean, it's X-Men, so people don't stay dead for long. But doesn't seem like that was the case here. So yeah, this is from Bo DeMayo. Y'all remember him being the mouthpiece during the whole first season. Also got off of the project before it even came out. So in a post on X, aka Twitter, because Mama called him Clay, former X-Men 97 showrunner Bo DeMayo revealed what he planned for Gambit in the future of the animated series. Apparently, Gambit's season was season 3, where it was going to adapt his arc in Age of Apocalypse, where he would be assembling a team at the behest of Magneto to find and steal the Mcron crystal. So, and this was in response to. This was all in response to a question from Comic Books Simon Gallagher about him moving Wolverine down to the list of a C character in the series. I don't see what one had to do with the other one. Who cares? But he also says, according to DeMayo, this is not the Wolverine show. It's time to move on, which I kind of agree with, honestly. Like, there are more characters that instead of that can focus on that are not Wolverine. But next up.
Alrighty, next up. Man of Tomorrow finds its Brainiac in Lars Eidinger. So James Gunn has found a very brainy actor to play the villain of Man of Tomorrow, his sequel to This Summer Superman. In a worldwide search for Brainiac in Man of Tomorrow, Lars Eidinger rose to the top. Welcome to the DC. Lars, writer, director Gunn wrote on X on Saturday. Welcome to the DCU, Lars. I'm sorry about that. That got cut off for me, so. The casting ends weeks of rumors about who would step into the role. The German actor is largely known for work in Europe, such as the acclaimed German series Babylon Berlin, but he worked with Sean Levy on the Netflix miniseries All the Light We Cannot See and Noah Baumbach on White Noise. I'm not familiar with his work.
Do you have some stuff going on in the background by chance? Because you keep cutting out.
Nope.
Interesting.
Do you need me to read that whole thing again?
No. But it's just just words here keep kind of cutting out here and there. But we got you. That's weird. I don't know. Either way, you know what? Good on them for going with quote unquote newer faces. You know, because we know Gunn has his slate of folks that he likes to call upon. And I guess he was like, you know what? Now we need some new blood on here. But and you know how it would be Hollywood to get like, hey, just get that person who's well famous and done every other thing. So I guess good on him for that. We'll see how he does. All I'm going to say is if there's not a character in that movie that does not say Brainiac, Dum Dums, Bust the Scientifical, they have failed the city. Thank you very much. Next up. Come on. There we go. Anonymous A-listers lobby Congress against Netflix, Warner Brothers Discovery acquisition. Quote, streamer would, quote, hold the noose around the theatrical marketplace. I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. But anyway, let's see. A consortium of top industry players have sent an open letter full of alarm to Congress because of as if we don't have bigger things to worry about than that. But again, this is the big thing, so let me hush. Describing a potential economic and institutional meltdown in Hollywood if Netflix succeeds in its effort to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. The letter was sent via email to members of Congress from both parties on Thursday. This is from a couple of weeks ago. From an anonymous collective identifying themselves only as concerned feature film producers, end quotes. The group explained it was leaving the letter unsigned, not out of cowardice, I still think it is though, but fear of retaliation, which also could potentially happen, given Netflix's considerable power as a buyer and distributor. Netflix and Warner Brothers declined to comment. So, yeah. And I haven't really seen anything else that happened from this, but then again, I haven't really been looking too closely since the holidays, so who's to say if anything came out of this? Von Gloom says, what did you just say? If the merger means Zaslav doesn't have the power to ruin things, then merge ASAP. Yeah, we were kind of wondering about that. Like, I kind of agree with you if that's going to be the case, but that they could very well be like, no, you just stay on and do what you're doing.
Right, we might just have bigger problems,
right?
You know, than Zaslav, which is scary.
Right. So, you know, best case scenario would, well, good case scenario would be that they oust Zaslav and be like, all right, you know what? We're going to put some of this stuff back. We're going to, we're going to do the thing. We're going to reinstate all that other stuff, put Batgirl out, kind of flip them things, and continue to put movies out in the theater so that these other people will shut up. You know, probably the best case scenario, but I don't know if we're going to get that at all. But next up,
with the premiere date closing in, Paramount Plus is introducing everyone to the next generation of Starfleet. A new batch of short character promos has dropped, putting the spotlight on the cadets who will anchor Star Trek Starfleet Academy when the series launches with a 2-episode premiere on January 15th, 2026. Let's see. Executive produced by Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau, the show is set deep in the franchise's future, and these quick hit videos do a job of establishing who these characters are before the semester officially begins. Set in the late 32nd century following the events of Star Trek Discovery, the series follows the first class of cadets to return to Starfleet Academy's historic San Francisco campus in more than a century. Okay.
yeah, see, that was the one thing about this show that I did not know about, like when this was being set. And now knowing that, I'm slightly more, well, I was interested in it, but slightly more curious about it. But also I haven't seen all of Discovery, but I do know there is a time jump per se in that show. So go figure. We'll see how that show works out. Hopefully I will have caught up with Discovery, but I don't think I will. Slice of life Star Trek series, man, might be a little bit of that, but no, you know they're going to get into some Starfleet shenanigans. There's going to be a Kirk-like, I'm sure. There's going to be a tortured Klingon, as we just saw. There is a Klingon, so he's probably tortured by being the one Klingon in Starfleet situation. There's going to be those tropes, surely. But yeah, I'm gonna check it out. We'll see what happens. Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, skipping movie theaters for Paramount Plus streaming debut. I feel like this is Paramount Plus saying we're enough Avatar fans to where they're going to, run to the streamer, except for Agent 70. I had to get that little dig in there. Not even apologizing for it.
Shots fired, man.
Although, to be fair, I think Avatar is in other places. But regardless, and you talk about the blue people either, folks. But yeah, apparently they're not doing a movie release for this thing. And sometimes when we talk about this, is it a non-competence thing? I mean, do they have that confidence in it, or is just that they're like, it'll probably just be better served. We don't know, but it's also Paramount, so anything there have been weird things under that roof as well going on, as we know from CBS Late Night. But let's see. The cinematic continuation of the popular TV series, previously slated for theatrical release on October 9th, will land on the streamer sometime in the fall. I think that is of next year. Meanwhile, a new animated television show, Avatar: Seven Heavens, which we've talked about previously, is set for Paramount Plus as the company charts a new future for the earth-bending and air and water and fire bending franchise that is solely streaming. And then they go back to the other stuff that's out there, like the Korra and Avatar. Wait. 4 seasons of Legend of Korra, the 2010 film Avatar. Oh, that thing. Forgot. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Ugh, that's on there. But yeah, and also the series Avatar: The Last Airbender in its entirety is on Paramount Plus, which no surprise. There we go. There's a quote which I won't get into, but actually yes, I will. The Avatar universe has captivated audiences for 2 decades, and Paramount Plus is proud to be the exclusive streaming home for its beloved animation incarnation, said Jane Weissman, head of originals for Paramount Plus. Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender, and Avatar: Seven Heavens represents the next evolution of storytelling from Avatar Studios, bringing together a remarkable talent both in front and behind the camera to deliver the epic adventures and emotional depth fans have come to expect. I'll now just stop right there. So yeah, like I said, I might check it. I will definitely check this out. So we'll see how that works out. And now we get into some proper anime news.
Alrighty. All right, so we're up to the Guardians of the Galaxy Star.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Okay. Superman actor Michaela Hoover is officially joining the Straw Hat Pirates on their new journey together in Netflix's One Piece Into the Grand Line. Hoover joins the live-action cast of Netflix's One Piece Season 2 as the voice of Tony Chopper, a CG-animated anthropomorphic reindeer, who will serve as the Straw Hat Pirates' doctor. Chopper is set to make his debut during the show's adaptation of the Drum Island arc, where it's a race against time to find urgent medical care for Nami. After their adventures at Little Garden leave her with a mysterious illness. Netflix provided a brand new preview of Hoover's performance as Chopper during the One Piece panel at Jump Festa 2026.
Shout out to the Tony Chopper fans. I know they're out there. Also, I'm not familiar. This name sounds familiar, but I have no idea. Like, wait, Superman actress. Who is she in Superman?
Right. Let me finish reading the next part.
Mm-hmm.
Michaela Hoover is best known for her theatrical appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy 2014. However, the American actor is a fan favorite of James Gunn, the director of Superman, and Michaela Hoover played Cat. Whatchamacallit? Cat Grant.
Oh, Cat Grant. Oh,
yeah, she's super short.
Right, and she also has a different wig. I mean, she has a different hair. Gotcha.
Yes,
that's probably
yes,
why
yes,
I didn't
yes.
recognize the face. Gotcha. Or I'm sure there were people not looking at the face. But anyway,
yes.
But what did she play in Guardians? So apparently she's also been in Suicide Squad, the 2021 Suicide Squad, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as well. So she's in the gun staple heavy.
Yeah, Guardians 3. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. Well, either way. Yeah, just talked about some other stuff, which also reminded me that Spy Family came back this week. I need to catch up on that. So definitely need to do that.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, this is the last episode in the latest core.
Mm-hmm. So I can go ahead and chop that out. No pun intended. Next up, though, while Agent 7 is looking up whatever information he's looking up, Naruto franchise gets Konoha Land. I'm sure not how to. I don't remember how to pronounce that name. So, F it. Theme park in France in 2026. Let's see. Twitter account for the Naruto franchise announced on Saturday that a new theme park named Naruto Konoha Land will open in France at Parc Spiro Province theme park in 2026. Studio Perot made a special illustration for the park. If you're watching the video version, you can see said illustration right there. The website shared images of 2 rides, the Kyuubi Untrained and the Rasengan Chakra Rotation. So, yes. And there you go. There's some other stuff that's going to be in here that this article mentions, but hey, we're not in France, so we're not going to be able to experience it. Next up, though.
Very quickly, Michaela Hoover portrayed Nova Prime's assistant in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Okay.
She also voiced and performed motion capture work for Floor in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, so she's one of the animals.
Wait, so what was the name of the animal?
Floor.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Rocket's, yeah, she was Rocket's, I believe, Rocket's love interest.
I thought that was Lyra, whatever.
Oh, no, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad. It's one of them.
Yeah, but
it's been a while since I've seen Guardians 3, but yeah, it's one of them.
Right. Yeah, and I'm trying to make, because it was only like 3 or 4 of them, so you can, significant whatever on that. So cool.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
bad about getting that wrong. You're right. It was it was yeah, I think you're right. It started with an L.
right. So that's a part
Lila?
of the yeah. That's one part of one his history and two that movie that I even remotely remember. So
Yeah, right.
but there is that. Agent 70, since you put this article in the news, why don't you go ahead and take this next one?
Right. Lila was the otter, Teefs was the
Yes.
walrus, and Floor is the rabbit.
Yes. I think didn't the rabbit like get it? Anyway, but yes. Lila was Rocket's
Yes.
Rocket's love interest. Yeah. So
Yes, my goodness.
so and it's
Freaking
like
God. Manipulating us.
all
All right. Let's see. Get this open. So a release window has been locked in for the second Haikyuu anime film, Haikyuu versus Chisana Kyojin, aka versus the Little Giant, and it's going to premiere in 2027. Oh, 2027. Oh my God, 2027. And you can see a new peek at the feature in the teaser trailer below and the warm-up visual above. You have to go on YouTube to check that out. As previously reported, Susumu Mitsunaka is slated to return as director for the new movie at Production IG. A new special episode, Haikyuu Bakemono Tachi no Iko Tokoro, will also premiere in 2027. The film picks up after the conclusion of the contest against Nekoma High School, where Shoyo Hinata and his team from Karasuno High School advanced to the quarterfinals to face off against Kamomedai High School, whose star player Korai Hoshiumi shares the same nickname, the Little Giant, as a player he once admired. And the special episode will broadcast on Japanese TV in 2027. The special episode depicts a contest between Fukurodani Academy and Muji Nazaka High School and their star player, Kotaro Bokuto and Wakatsu Kiryu, respectively. Oh, that's cool.
I'm laughing because I know he's all into this, and plus he was the one who put this in the chat. I mean, he brought this to my attention.
Yeah, I was like, add this to the news.
I almost I almost said like you can edit yourself, but I forgot I didn't have the page. I didn't have the thing up yet to put anything in, so that was my bad. But yes, good news for you Haikyuu fans, aka Agent 70. Next up, though, also some news I sent to Agent 70. The K-pop Demon Hunters screenplay is out there for folks' perusal. You can check the link in the show notes. If you're watching the video version, you can see it, see part of it here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, obviously, but yeah. And if you're a type of person who, like me and probably Agent 70 on certain stuff, and other folks kind of like to read scripts and screenplays for reasons. Just kind of get some insight into some things, and maybe possibly what was cut, if anything, because sometimes they have those notes in here. Hey, it's there, so that's cool. That's cool that they put this out here.
They even have the lyrics to the songs in it.
Oh, I didn't even go that far, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I didn't go that far. Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, like I said, if you're interested in that, it is out there for you. You can check the link in the show notes. If you hadn't already seen this out there on, yeah. She's the cutest maknae, but when she raps, she goes hard. Okay, sure. I'll get to that reference when I get to that. Next up, please stop that. The JoJo one is you.
All right. The Joestars pony up for Steel Ball Run, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. Part 7 of the beloved series will be available worldwide in March 2026. The Joestar family saga continues with an iconic installment of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, coming to Netflix on March 19, 2026, adapted from Part 7 of legendary artist Hiro Hiko Akari's beloved manga series Steel Ball Run is set in the 19th century United States and follows Johnny Joestar, a former jockey who loses the use of his legs in a freak accident. After forming an alliance with mysterious outlaw Jiro Zappelli, the two embark on a grueling cross-continental horse race for a $50 million grand prize. Catch a sneak preview of the action in the brand new trailer for Steel Ball Run, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Above, revealing fresh character visuals including Sandman and Poco Loco. Okay.
Sadly, no Jodeci for the ending or beginning theme that we know of yet, because I don't think we've even gotten that point yet. So, JoJo's is a weird ass show. I'm just, let's be honest with you. So, you got to have some fortitude for some of it. Anyway, we get over into the comic book news. And this is kind of actually appropriate because Green Arrow moves to Gotham City and joins Batman's Detective Comics after his own comic was canceled due to low sales. I think we mentioned that before the show. Yeah. So yeah, after wrapping up his solo series this month, Green Arrow is moving to Batman's Stomping Ground and the flagship title Detective Comics in March 2026. So yeah, starting with Detective Comics 1107. Green Arrow is Gotham's newest resident, as it says. According to DC Comics, he'll immediately be teaming up not only with his main squeeze Black Canary, but also whose book also ended this month, but also the Dark Knight himself to solve a mystery that ties in not just his own past, but that of Bruce Wayne as well. What's going on? Only creators Tom Taylor and Pete Woods know for sure, and it's going to be a few months before they're sharing. So. It's unclear, according to this article, now whether Green Arrow will be joining Detective Comics on a regular basis, but it's worth noting that this won't be the first time he's appeared in the long-running flagship series. So apparently he had his own backup strip back in the early 80s. Yeah, so there you go. So yeah, cool. Yeah, and as I said, we said earlier, Green Arrow 31, which came out this week, was the last issue of Green Arrow's book. Next up,
Wonder Woman's daughter just set up the return of an essential Wonder Woman character. Let's see. Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman, followed Steve and Diana's daughter Lizzie as she teamed up with two other versions of herself from across time to set things right after they accidentally broke the time stream by losing Corgi Fi to Damian Wayne and John Kent too. Oh my god. That part is a long story itself, but what's important is that issue 6 just revealed that Steve Trevor is coming back, and it's all thanks to Trinity. Okay. Spoiler alert.
all right.
Yeah, there's a lot of spoiling here for a lot of what's been happening, I guess.
Yeah, but if you have been keeping up, you haven't cared.
Yeah. Yeah, Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman #6 on sale now.
Mm-hmm. Next up, we had a double dose of Paul Jenkins here, but The Sentry returns in new series by co-creator Paul Jenkins. The Sentry, a 4-issue limited series by Sentry co-creator Paul Jenkins and artist Krysten Ritter, launches this March. And by the way, I will go so far as to say that, hey, solicitations for March are out there, and you can look at them in the show notes if you haven't already. But yeah, according to this Marvel article, he's been an Avenger, a Dark Avenger, a Thunderbolt. Now the Sentry is back, but so is the Void, per usual. Let's see. Quote from Paul Jenkins: "I am so proud and excited to be returning to Marvel after such a long hiatus." And I should do that right there because I should not have let that go. Even better, I get to work on once again on a character I created, one who means so much to so many people. The Golden Guardian of Good himself, the Sentry. Words can express the thanks I owe to my amazing editors, Paul Manacia and Lauren Marmaro, as well as CB Sapolsky and the entire Marvel crew. I'm back, true believers. And yeah, and that's the first issue is March 18th, as I said. Next up.
This April, Carol Danvers must recover a lost memory from her time as Ms. Marvel in Captain Marvel Dark Past, a 5-issue comic book limited series by Paul Jenkins and Lucas Vernick. Let's see. Following his grand return to Marvel this March with the recently announced The Century series, Paul Jenkins will be writing this 5-issue comic book limited series, Captain Marvel Dark Past. He's going to be joined by Marvel Stormbreaker Lucas Vernick. The story kicks off when a dark family secret is exposed, forcing Carol to revisit her time as Ms. Marvel. And that's where it's all going to come from.
But I wonder if it's going to deal with that weird pregnancy thing in the Avengers, or her drinking problem.
We'll see.
We shall see.
Because they don't reference anything like, when she was Warbird. So.
Right. And yeah, and part of that did happen when that was the case. So
right.
Marvel unveils prequel to MCU Fantastic Four, which I saw this article. I was like, didn't they already do that? And yes, they did. This is another one. So apparently, this is called. Let's see. Fantastic Four First Steps. It's called First Foes. Excuse me, is the name of the book. So this goes back to into the prequel world of the Fantastic Four, which yes, that the movie that just came out, they're hitting another prequel into that, because there is a prequel book, like I said, one shot that they mentioned here. And let's see, the new one, and is also going to be a one-shot, which is called The Fantastic Four First Foes, as I said. We'll see the MCU's take on the team doing battle with the Mad Thinker. Which is what I was trying to get to. First Foes is due out on March 4th, 2026. It's being written by Dan Slott, and with art by Mark Buckingham. And Phil Noto's doing the cover art. So there you go. Cool. If you're interested in that, like I said, March 4th, 2026. Next up and last up.
Magic's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set is months away, but play boosters are discounted already, apparently. Universes Beyond. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is launching in March 2026, but Amazon has dropped the price of a play booster box by 24% already. But there's a slight catch. The MSRP, or list price, as Amazon calls it, for a Play Booster box for a Universes Beyond set is $209.70, and this discount brings the same product down to $159.99. The catch is that Play Booster boxes tend to retail for that amount anyway if they're set in Magic's own realms. That's right, Universes Beyond booster boxes are pricier than Universes Within, apparently just because.
And also just because license. I mean, that is the unwritten thing, because most of those Universes Beyond stuff are licensed stuff, like Marvel and this and other stuff that are coming down the line. So yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, but it is a state of affairs, sadly. And I don't know if that price, that $159.99 that price stick is still there. It's saying it on this article, so very much could still be the case, and it is as of this recording, because this article was like at least a week old. So sometimes that stuff changes. But hey, if you're interested, you can go ahead and pre-order right there. I'm about to say Amazon is a sponsor, so use our link. Go for it. if you care to do so, we don't mind. That's what it's there for. And with that, folks, that is it for the for the news section. Before we get into the last ad read of the night, let me hit up just a little bit of show and tell, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
So, 'twas the week after Christmas, and all through the hop, the Christmas ship was on sale, so I went to the shop. I don't know, that was tortured, but I had it's okay. Y'all know the vibe. So, after Christmas sales, the stuff that, like I said, I went and got some of the ornaments that they have out there right now. And of course, germane to the show, they're comic book based. So I got, hope that shows up. There we go. I got a Captain America. This is the Sam Wilson version. If they had a Steve Rogers version, it was probably sold out in the Walmart that I went to today. And yes, all of these I got today. I got a Spider-Man.
Nice.
It's the wall crawler. I will say, of the ones that they still had, the only one that I did not get was Wolverine. It's a Ben Grimm.
Oh, cool.
There is, this is probably gonna, Iron Man. These are, and for the audio listeners, these are Christmas ornaments. If I didn't make that clear. Let's see. And let's see, yeah, all the stuff was half off. So, wait, did I actually get another one? Okay, no, I didn't. I was about to say. There is one of these I did get a duplicate of, and I didn't intend to. Got an an X-wing from Star Wars. So, got 2 TIE fighters for some dumb reason. I didn't mean to. Honestly, I thought I thought I had picked, but I was just grabbing shit and putting them in my basket. One of these is probably going to get given away or something because obviously there's like no finals. I mean, this is final sales. So, there's a Charlie Brown Christmas one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they had a couple of them in there. Hopefully, if I go back in there next weekend, there was another one I kind of wanted because they had a couple of in there a couple of which you might have wanted. I almost got, or if they had the Steve Rogers, I almost got and sent it to you. But they had a Lord of the Rings one, the One Ring. And that was like originally like $18. So it's half price. So, it'd be whatever that would be. And they still had a couple of those left. They had a Midori actually from My Hero. A couple of those still left. And they had a couple of other ones like that, Doritos chips and whatnot. And, some other stuff like Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, and this PlayStation, this OG PlayStation controller one is the last one I got. So if I go back in there next week and they still have some stuff and it's still on sale, I might grab a couple of them of what stuff. Like I said, usually you go into places like that, and the one closer to me was picked clean the day after Christmas. So I just happened to be on the other side of town, and at one that I'm usually at, and they still had some stuff. Yay! So, but yeah, that's it for me for show and tell. A little after Christmas shenanigans. Now, my bear tree will have some stuff next year.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
And with that, let's get to the last ad read.
Our last ad read of the night. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us and click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
All right, folks, that's it. We're out of here. Like I said, this is going to be this is the last show of the year.
Right.
We can safely say that because the next show is the next show is going to be after the beginning of the year because because New Year's Day is on this coming Thursday as of we're recording here, and we are not going to be recording on that day. We're probably good, but man, we'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, like New Year's Day and maybe the day after might be a little bit easier to swing. So we'll see how it goes. It's not it doesn't have the same cachet. as it were, of Christmas and what it means. So
exactly. So yeah, we hadn't talked about this. Is why I'm saying it like I'm saying it. So Christmas,
Right.
we definitely made that choice. To was like, yeah, we weren't going to record. But stay tuned to our socials. So we'll let you know one way or the other. As Von Gloom says in the chat, later years, indeed.
that's right. That's
Let's
right.
Get the fuck out of this 2025 year. Put this in rice and leave it there. But yes,
Burn
folks,
it, kill it dead, right?
Oh man, with fire and everything. Good gracious. But yeah, folks. Like I said, it might also be a light week next week. So like I said, we'll see how that works out. Hopefully we'll have if we get swing, we'll have friend of the show Matt Wayne, because I totally forgot to reach out to him for this one, because he did say he wanted to be on the in between show. So, but like I said, we'll work that all out. But that being said, I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on the Blue Sky and Twitter. You can find me at News Nurse Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Blue Sky, Twitter, Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, all of that. You can also find his here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network, which I just remembered I did not mention earlier in the show. That's at cspn.us.
Do it today.
You can also find it on your podcast perusal place of trust, whether it be Apple, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, if they're still doing their things, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed. And you know, and like our friend Von Gloom and that other mystery person did, who I think we might know who that is. That was on Twitch earlier. You can find us recording, on youtube.com/TheKliqNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles every week on Thursday nights, 9:30 or more closer to 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Again, please make sure to click like, subscribe, leave us all the positive 5-star reviews. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and you'll know when we are on live and direct. Oh wait, I think the term is smash the like button.
There it is. And with that, folks, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. A couple things to leave on.
Merry New Year!
There it is.
y'all. I really stand. Lights out.
Good evening, Rick.
Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?